My name is Clara Sterling, and for the last 700 days, my father has made it his full-time job to ensure I never work in finance again. To the world, Arthur and Eleanor Sterling are pillars of the community, charity galas, country club leadership, front row seats at the symphony. To me, they are the architects of a prison with invisible bars. I graduated top of my class from Wharton, full scholarship, Dean's List every semester. I had 3 job offers before I even walked across that stage. But the morning after graduation, my father made a phone call, then another, then another. Every time I walked into an interview after that, I could feel it, the shift. The atmosphere would turn Arctic the moment they called my references. My father didn't just burn bridges, he salted the earth. He told every CEO, every hiring manager, every board member in the city that I was a compulsive thief who had stolen from the family coffers. "She has a sickness," he'd say, voice dripping with false concern. "We've tried to help her, but she needs professional intervention. I wouldn't trust her near your books." He thought he had me cornered. He thought watching me scrub floors at the Thorn Plaza for minimum wage would break my spirit until I crawled back to marry the business partner he'd chosen for me, some trust fund VP twice my age with political connections and a receding hairline. He wanted a pawn, not a daughter. But Arthur forgot one thing. He wasn't the only Sterling with a mind for strategy. My grandmother, Genevieve, Gigi to me, though never to my father, saw his cruelty coming 15 years ago. While my mother picked out Wedgwood china and my father built his empire on lies, Gigi was building me a door. I'm holding the key now. It's in a yellowed envelope that smells like her perfume, and Alistair Thorne is waiting for me on the 50th floor. The thing about humiliation is that it doesn't hit you all at once. It's slow, methodical. It seeps into your bones one degrading moment at a time until you can't remember what it felt like to stand up straight. I empty trash bins in offices I should be running. I scrub conference room floors where decisions worth millions are made by men half as qualified as me. I wear a gray uniform with my name stitched above the pocket, Clara, as if I'm not a Sterling at all, just another faceless worker bee in the hive. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I clean the executive floor. That's where I see them. The finance bros in their Tom Ford suits laughing about their bonuses. The CFOs who shake hands over deals I could have structured better in my sleep. Sometimes they don't even see me. I'm furniture, wallpaper. But sometimes they do. "Hey, aren't you?" one of them started last month, squinting at me like I was a puzzle he couldn't quite solve. I didn't wait for him to finish. I pushed my cart to the next office. The worst part isn't the work itself. It's that my mother knows exactly where I am, and she sends her little reminders anyway. Text messages, voicemails, handwritten notes delivered to my studio apartment, the one I can barely afford on $15 an hour. "Darling, Gregory Whitmore asked about you at the club. He's still willing to overlook your indiscretions. One word from you and this all goes away." Indiscretions, as if I'd actually done something wrong. As if marrying a man I don't love to erase a lie I never told is some kind of generous offer. I used to cry after reading those messages. Now I just delete them. But last week, something changed. I was cleaning the 50th floor, Alistair Thorne's private wing, when I saw him through the glass walls of his office. He was younger than I expected, mid-40s maybe. Sharp jawline, expensive watch, the kind of man who built his empire from scratch and never forgot what hunger felt like. He looked up, and for just a second, our eyes met. He didn't look away, and neither did I. The envelope was waiting for me when I got home, not in my mailbox, but on my pillow. My hands were shaking as I picked it up. The paper was thick, expensive, the kind Gigi used for her personal correspondence. My name was written across the front in her distinctive handwriting, all swooping capitals and elegant loops. "For Clara, open only when you've forgotten who you are." I'd forgotten. God, I'd forgotten completely. Inside was a letter, a stock certificate, and a smaller sealed envelope marked, "For Alistair Thorne, deliver in person." The letter was dated 15 years ago, before I even went to college, before my father's lesson had begun. My dearest Clara, if you're reading this, it means Arthur has finally shown his true colors. I knew this day would come. Your father has always been a small man with big ambitions and no conscience to match. When you were 8 years old, I watched him steal $200,000 from the family trust to cover his gambling debts. He thought I didn't notice. I noticed everything. I didn't report him, not because I was afraid, but because I was strategic. Instead, I used that evidence to negotiate with a brilliant young entrepreneur named Alistair Thorne. He needed capital, I needed insurance for you, so I invested in his fledgling company using your name. 12% founding shares, Clara. Thorne Industries is worth $4.3 billion as of my last check. Do the math. But this isn't just about money, my darling. It's about leverage. Arthur will come for you eventually. He'll try to break you, reshape you into something useful to him. When he does, remember this. You are not a Sterling by his definition. You are a Sterling by mine. The documents in the safe deposit box will prove what Arthur really is. Box 447 at First National. Key enclosed. Go see Alistair. He's expecting you. Or someone like you. I made him promise. All my love, Gigi. I read it 3 times. Then I looked at the stock certificate. 12% of Thorne Industries.
I wasn't poor. I wasn't powerless. I was an unactivated asset. The laugh that came out of me was half sob, half war cry. Getting past Thorne's security was easier than I expected. I didn't go through HR. I didn't submit an application. I walked into the lobby of Thorne Plaza at 7 a.m. before my cleaning shift started, wearing the only professional outfit I still owned and carrying Gigi's envelope like a passport. I need to see Alistair Thorne, I told the receptionist. She looked me up and down. Do you have an appointment? No, but I have this. I slid the envelope across the desk. Genevieve Sterling sent it. He'll know what it means. I saw the flash of recognition in her eyes when she read Gigi's name. 20 minutes later, I was in the elevator to the 50th floor. Alistair was waiting in his office, the envelope already open on his desk. He stood when I entered. A small gesture, but it meant everything after 2 years of being invisible. Clara Sterling, he said. Not a question, a statement. Mr. Thorne? Alistair. He gestured to the chair across from him. Your grandmother was one of the most formidable people I've ever met. I mourned her passing. She spoke highly of you. Did she tell you about our arrangement? Only what was in the letter. He nodded slowly, studying me. Your father tried to have you blacklisted from this building, too, you know. He called me personally 2 years ago, said you were a thief and a liability. My chest tightened. What did he tell him? I told him I don't take personnel advice from gamblers and embezzlers. Alistair's smile was sharp. Genevieve told me what he was before he tried to poison your name. I've been waiting for you, Clara. Waiting for me to do what? To wake up. He leaned back in his chair. You own 12% of this company. You have a seat on my board anytime you want it. But something tells me you didn't come here just for a job. I met his eyes. I came here to end him. Good. Alistair pulled out a folder. Then let's talk about the Sterling-Thorne merger your father has been chasing for the last 6 months. Everything was falling into place. Alistair and I met 3 times a week, always before dawn, always in his private office. He taught me the angles I'd missed, the leverage points in corporate warfare that they don't teach at Wharton. We built the plan piece by piece. Let Arthur think the merger was happening, let him commit everything to it, then pull the rug out at the last possible moment. My father had bet his entire firm on this deal. Without it, Sterling Capital would collapse within 18 months. It was perfect. It was going to work. And then I woke up one morning and couldn't get out of bed. Not physically, mentally, emotionally. The weight of 2 years of humiliation crashed down on me at all once. I called in sick to my cleaning job. I didn't answer Alistair's messages. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling of my studio apartment, wondering if revenge was really worth it. What was I proving? That I could destroy my father? He'd already destroyed me. The best version of Clara Sterling, the girl who believed hard work and talent mattered, was dead. She died somewhere between interview 15 and interview 20, between my mother's voicemails and my father's smug satisfaction. Maybe I should just take the money and disappear, change my name, start over in another city where the Sterling name meant nothing. I stayed in that bed for 3 days. On the 4th day, there was a knock at my door. I almost didn't answer, but something made me get up, made me drag myself across the room and turn the lock. My mother stood there, Eleanor Sterling, in a Chanel suit and pearls, looking at my studio apartment like it was a crime scene. "May I come in?" she asked. I stepped aside. She didn't sit. She stood in the center of my tiny living space, hands clasped in front of her, and for the first time in 2 years, she actually looked at me. "Your father doesn't know I'm here," she said quietly. "What do you want, Mother?" "I want you to know that I—" She paused, swallowed. "I didn't think it would go this far. When Arthur first made those calls, I thought it was just posturing, a negotiating tactic to bring you home. I didn't think he would actually—" "Destroy my entire future?" I finished. "Blacklist me from every firm in the state? Force me to clean toilets for minimum wage?" Her face tightened. "You could have come home at any time. To marry Gregory Whitmore? To become your puppet? To be part of this family again? I was never part of this family, Mother. I was a chess piece." She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was barely a whisper. "I'm sorry." 2 words, 2 years too late. "Are you?" I asked. "Are you really? Because sorry doesn't come with conditions, Mother. Sorry doesn't come with a marriage contract attached. If you're actually sorry, tell Father to retract his statements. Tell him to call every person he poisoned against me and take it back." "I can't do that." "Then you're not sorry. You're just uncomfortable." She flinched like I'd slapped her. "Clara, get out. Please, get out." She left, and I locked the door behind her and cried for an hour straight. But when I was done crying, I got up, I showered, I put on my suit, and I called Alistair.
"I'm in," I said. "Let's burn it all down." The Sterling Thorne merger gala was everything my parents excelled at: champagne fountains, ice sculptures, a string quartet playing in the corner. 200 of the city's most powerful people gathered to watch Arthur Sterling consolidate his empire. He stood at the center of the ballroom like a king, shaking hands and accepting congratulations for a deal that hadn't even closed yet. Eleanor was at his side in a diamond necklace that cost more than I'd made in 2 years. I waited until they called everyone to attention, until Arthur stepped up to the microphone. Then I walked in. I wasn't wearing my janitor's uniform. I wore the Armani suit Alistair had bought me. Consider it a signing bonus. And Gigi's diamond earrings, the ones she'd left me in her will that my parents had somehow forgotten to give me. I looked like money. I looked like power. I looked like a Sterling. The room went quiet as I walked through the crowd. People parted like I was radioactive. My mother saw me first. Her face went white. Then my father.
"What is she doing here?" Eleanor hissed, moving to intercept me. "Security!" "Is she causing a problem?" Alistair's voice cut through the murmur. He appeared at my side, offering me his arm. "Because Clara Sterling is my guest tonight, my honored guest." Arthur's smile was frozen on his face. "Alistair, I don't know what she's told you, but—" "She hasn't told me anything I didn't already know, Arthur." Alistair's voice carried across the ballroom. "In fact, why don't we let Clara say a few words? After all, she's been working so hard these past 2 years, scrubbing floors, emptying trash, building character." He handed me the microphone. The entire room was watching. My father's face was red. "This is ridiculous. Clara is not—" "A thief," I said into the microphone. My voice echoed through the ballroom. "You told everyone in this room that I stole from the family, that I have a sickness, that I can't be trusted." "You're making a scene," he hissed. "Good." I turned to face the crowd. "My name is Clara Sterling, and my father has spent 2 years systematically destroying my reputation for refusing to marry the man he chose. He called every employer in this city. He made sure I couldn't work anywhere except as a janitor in this very building. He wanted to break me." Eleanor stepped forward. "Clara, please, don't do this." "Why not, Mother? Isn't this what you wanted? A family reconciliation?" I laughed, and it was bitter. "Here's the thing about lies, Father. They require everyone to believe the same story, and your story just fell apart." I nodded to Alistair. He pulled out a document. "This is a copy of the Sterling family trust records from 15 years ago, records that show Arthur Sterling embezzled $200,000 to cover gambling debts, records that were witnessed and notarized by Genevieve Sterling before her death." The crowd gasped. Arthur's face went from red to purple. "That's privileged family information." "It's evidence of fraud," I said. "Evidence that my grandmother kept as insurance. Evidence she used to negotiate with Alistair when his company was just starting out." I held up the stock certificate. 12% founding shares in Thorn Industries, purchased 15 years ago in my name, with documentation proving every penny came from Genevieve Sterling's personal fortune, not the family trust, not stolen money. Legal, legitimate, mine. The room was dead silent. "Which brings us to tonight's big announcement. This merger you're all here to celebrate? It's dead." Arthur lunged for me. "You can't—" "I can." I stepped back, still holding the microphone. "As a founding shareholder, I have veto power over any acquisition or merger that affects the fundamental structure of this company. It's in the bylaws. Alistair made sure of it." Alistair nodded. "She's right. The merger is cancelled." "You'll destroy your own wealth," Arthur shouted. "That 12% will be worth more without your toxic influence attached to it," I finished. Sterling Capital needed this merger to survive. Thorn Industries did not. We'll be just fine. I watched my father's empire crumble in real time, watched the calculations happening behind his eyes, the debts, the obligations, the house of cards toppling. "The real thief in this family," I said quietly, "was never me." I handed the microphone back to Alistair and walked out of the ballroom. I didn't look back. 6 months later, Sterling Capital filed for bankruptcy. My father settled with the SEC to avoid prosecution, but his reputation was destroyed. The country club revoked his membership. The charity boards asked for his resignation. Eleanor filed for divorce and moved to the Hamptons. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. I had a corner office on the 50th floor of Thorn Plaza now, not as a janitor, but as chief financial officer. Alistair said I'd earned it. I said Gigi had earned it for me. We were probably both right. Last week, I got a letter forwarded from my mother's lawyers. It was short. "Clara, I hope you're well. I'd like to see you if you're willing. No conditions, no expectations. Just coffee. Eleanor." I haven't decided if I'll respond. Some bridges are worth rebuilding, some are better left as ash. But every morning when I walk into Thorn Plaza, I pass the janitorial staff in the lobby. I make eye contact, I say good morning, I remember their names. Because I know exactly what it feels like to be invisible, and I know exactly how much power one person can have when someone believes in them. Thanks, Gigi. I'm finally standing up straight.